For a while now, I've been thinking about a new type of product to help real estate agents because it's a passion of mine. The real estate, it was one of my first investments. It was very lucrative for me for a while, and I would very much like to get back involved with it. So this has been on my mind for quite some time, and I think that I'm finally to the point where I'm ready to actively and openly discuss the development of this writing project that's going to help real estate agents. And effectively, we're talking about a new ghostwriting product launch today. The fundamental foundation, the main aspect of this project is an EEC. What we're going to make is an educational email course. The reason why this is important is because there's a major issue we have as a real estate agent, as a real estate broker, trying to have a communication and a positive effect on existing customers, because most people only need one house to live in. So if you try to push somebody beyond that without a really strong rational reason, it's not going to work. What happens is a real estate agent is going to go out there and do all the work. We're going to generate our leads, we're going to generate our prospects, we're going to go out and list our homes, we're going to sell our homes, we're going to put people into our homes, and you're never going to hear from them again. So effectively, every single client we have turns into a one-off unless we have a way to encourage the conversation later on. And from my position, what I did was I purchased a house, and then I parlayed that house into another house, and I parlayed that house into a fourplex and then a threeplex and then 4 duplexes and etc. And I did that before I was 26. So when you start counting doors, we were doing pretty well for ourselves kind of early on in life. I think that the more people we can help with this process, the better people are be off financially. There's a lot of folks are financially struggling right now. By the same token, if we can help real estate agents build up repeat business with people they've already established relationships with, so much the better. And brokers, obviously you're going to get the same result, where the more people you can put into the conversation, the better off they're going to be. And obviously commissions would help. The importance of generating repeat business is never to be underestimated. The math of retention as point number one is really important, because it is cheaper to reactivate an existing client than to win new ones. If someone's already in your relationship, they're already in your phone, it costs the time that it takes to make the phone call. It costs the time that it takes to create the email. Whereas if you're trying to generate a new lead, a new person who's done business with you, it can take weeks and months between when that person first enters your orbit and then you lose 9 of them because you're only closing 10% at the lead level. And then you get them to the door and you cultivate the lead. You take weeks searching for a home. You take 45 days, 60 days working through the financing and close portion. You're 90 days into that process and thousands of dollars in gas and advertising down the river. There's a big difference between how much it costs to do a 5-day email sequence to people who are already on your friends list than spending those thousands of dollars in leads and gas and time. When we're having the conversation, it turns into almost a FOMO thing, fear of missing out. There are just so many people who are willing to look into investing in more real estate. So it becomes an urgency thing among the real estate agents. Who gets this first gets this the mostest. It's a way for us as real estate agents, real estate professionals, to build trust with our existing clients after our initial sale. Because we are effectively reactivating people we already know and offering to make them tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional equity, basically building a retirement portfolio. By teaching our friends and our people we've already done business with, as a real estate agent, we become a go-to advisor. You're not just another postcard landing in somebody's mail. You're someone who's already done business. You know each other. You might have met kids. It's not another advertising spin that's hitting people. It's just deflecting off the brain before it even sinks in. And a progressive education through an email chain, it's going to beat the one and done PDF. If it's a dense PDF, it drops in the mailbox, it's 45 minutes. Oh, I don't want to go through this. You're going to have the resistance. By building up your trust with a drip email campaign, effectively of 5, 4, 7 days, however long we structure it, that's going to build trust better because it's 3 to 5 minutes. It's a nice quick email. We get it. We let it percolate overnight. And the next day we have the next piece of the conversation. That kind of works better. Another advantage is that this turns into data control, where We're moving our relationship off of a rented platform, say, and into our owned email list. And the reason that's important is because if we're paying for leads from Google or Facebook or anywhere else, however we're getting our leads, we don't own those customers. We can't reach out to those customers without going through a lot of work on the platform. It turns into a very technical pay-per-click oriented operation to retarget people who have already visited our website. You really have to have a lot of cylinders firing in sequence to produce that. And I know because I do the pay-per-click advertising. When we have our own email list, our own client list, it's a very positive way to reach out to our existing clients. We control our data as our real estate agent, as our broker. We are not mining for new data. We're not renting data from some social media or search platform. That's a very different conversation from a marketing perspective. It's very powerful when we can harness that. Something else that's important about producing an educational email course is it turns into an always-on system. And what I mean by that is that once it's set up, as we enroll our friends and coworkers and people who have purchased from us in the past, it turns into a 24/7 kind of deal. Somebody gets on at whatever hour and reads their email effectively. You don't have to go and have that conversation with somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning when they've got insomnia and they're digging through the refrigerator and just looking for something to scroll past. By putting that email out there, it's very flexible on our consumers' time. We don't have to be available to have that conversation. Realistically, when you're getting an email from somebody who you know, when I read an email from someone I know, I'm reading it in their voice. I'm not sure if everybody else is like that, but I definitely hear people's voice when I'm reading through their email. When we build our email sequence correctly, I think that we're going to be able to produce a segmented list for sequences and interests that basically, as someone is interested in, yeah, I think this might be a good thing to help boost my family's wealth, create generational wealth, or bolster my retirement income, or ensure that we're a diversified portfolio. There's as many different reasons for doing things as there are people that we can talk to, but by allowing our existing customers as real estate agents to have that conversation, what'll end up happening is you'll have a better grasp of who's going to raise their hand, because somebody's going to reply, hey, agent friend, I got this email from you last night. It's pretty cool. Let's talk about it some more. You've immediately got somebody who's raised their hand because they're interested in adding a few $100,000 to their wealth. And that's a powerful statement. The fifth reason why this is really important is because it's a clear ROI story. The initial investment for setting up our email sequence, our educational email sequence, is going to cost, because there's a lot of work involved in it, tailoring it, making sure it reads right, it addresses the local issues, etc. There's going to be issues for tailoring it. It's going to be an upfront cost, but effectively, the better performing agent you are, the more people you have in your Rolodex, the more people you have in your phone, the more people you have in your CRMs, there's going to be a clear ROI story told. You're going to have an upfront cost, the initial investment, and then how much does it cost you to send each email? Especially when they're scheduled through your CRM and they're scheduled through your various email programs and systems. Once this thing's set in place, it's got your correct information and it's custom tailored to you as a real estate agent. You're effectively reactivating clients for free. And then each client going in, if you want to get technical, turns into averaging out the marginal cost of the product. So if you have a $5,000 product to set up and you've got 50 people who move through, each person is $100. If you got 5,000 people who move through, each person is worth $1. You take the number of people you put through the system and raise their hand, say, yes, I'd like to participate, and then you divide by. And here's the kicker. When you really get into the return on investment and the return on ad spend, when we produce the system, how much do you make on a single close? By my finger and toe math, around here, it's easily $12,000 between the broker and the agent for a moderately to nice home. That money adds up. 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Suddenly, it's a very high yielding system. It's a very high yielding program. And everybody put through it is just dividing those advertising costs. As you escalate that, suddenly the advertising cost attributed to each one of those jobs drops and drops and drops. There's other ways to calculate it too, because if we pay it off in the first job, it's free thereafter, however you run your books. Most agents, most average to below average agents, are going to rely on luck for repeat business. I do not want to sound offensive, but realistically, I would really rather not work with the below average agents. So anybody that I want to work with is going to be someone who understands the business implications of putting together a 5-day email sequence that rekindles their relationships with existing clients who are already in the books, builds trust with those clients, books conversations on autopilot, and makes clients hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity over the life of these assets. As silly as it sounds, this is one of those things that's like one reactivated client covers the cost of doing this. Easily, it covers the cost of doing this. And I think that this is an extremely powerful tool. It's on the mind, and it's going to be a couple of weeks before I develop this all the way through. There's some other tools that I'm working on too. So I suspect we're going to have a suite of tools announced in the near future, which are going to be kind of cool, kind of fun to play with. You have a great day, and I'm going to let this percolate in my little brain and see how much further we take it. I look forward to releasing this. This could be a lot of fun this coming year. You have a great day.